Good morning, church. It's good to be with you again today. Our reading in Samuel today marks a turning point in the history of Israel. We have exited the era of judges and we have entered into the era of kings, Saul being the first king. And there's some debate over whether this was ultimately a good event or if it was an event that God permitted. We could say it's a good event because King David comes and God promises a seed from the line of David, that the root of Jesse would spring up. And we know that that's Jesus, the King forever, who is our high priest and who reigns forever. But we also wonder if it's something that God permitted to happen, and because he quite obviously in our reading today considers it to be an evil, a rejection of him. But we rest on that verse out of Romans, that God works all things together for good for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. And we are grateful that no matter what the ultimate view that God had of this, that he came to us through Jesus and does reign in that kingship forever over us. But look at what the Israelites are asking for, and I'm going to make some contemporary application out of this. The people refused to listen to Samuel. This is chapter 8, verse 19. No, they said, we must have a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations. Our king will judge us, go out before us, and fight our battles. We just want to be like everybody else. Doesn't that sound familiar? Isn't that the cry of our heart as Christians? We just want to be like other people. We just want someone to go out before us. We want someone to fight our battles. We want someone to take care of us. Increasingly in our American culture, it seems like the populace is clamoring for a king. We don't want a president anymore. We want a king, someone to take care of us, to supply all of our needs, and just to be there for us so we don't have to suffer or worry. But when we demand that of the government, we know that we have rejected God in that position, and that's exactly what he says of the Israelites when he tells Saul, give them what they want. They're not rejecting you, Saul, as their judge and prophet. They're rejecting me as their rightful king. And we remember that God is our one true king. He is the one that rules over us and to whom we fully submit and give all of our lives over to. No one and nothing else. He is our sole source of strength and provision. No matter where else we're going to go and look, no matter how comfortable other people or entities can make us, it's all just a fabrication, a gift, perhaps, that comes through the hands of God and through these other entities. But, it all stems from God, and we can't ever get that mixed up or confused. And when the Israelites were thinking that the king could be responsible for winning their battles, they missed that spiritual reality that God had been warning them about, that he is the one who is going to be bringing victories, and that if they were with God, then God could grant them these impossible victories. If they were against God, then there would be terrible defeat. Paul reminds us in our reading today, this is really one of my top Bible verses. I just love it. Although we live in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh, since the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but are powerful through God for the demolition of strongholds. We demolish arguments and every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God, and we take every thought captive to obey Christ. And so we are remembering that our warfare is spiritual. the primary battle raging around us is for our eternal souls. Everything is in that arena, and everything we do, we want to point towards an eternal purpose. Even mundane things like making sure people in our midst have enough to eat and drink, that those who are suffering, that we can be a balm to them, but not for its own sake, but for eternal purposes. And when you're waging those wars, perhaps against depression or intrusive thoughts, just things that seem to oppress us and weigh on our spirit, we remember that is spiritual warfare, and we have to wage war spiritually against it. And our spiritual weapon, and we go to Ephesians 6, that's our spiritual weapons, the armor and the sword of the Spirit. So we need to don them and wield them well. Well, church, I sure love you lots. Remember today to serve well the one true King.